And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 88th episode of HEX Therapy Live. I'm your host, Maddie ALLin. And it's true, I've been really tired today because I've been driving across the country, but as usual, not going to miss a show. 88 weeks and counting. Welcome to HEX Therapy Live. I'm going to explain tonight's topic. What is shrinkflation? It's not actually related to how many psychiatrists you have in the economy, but it does affect the world's mental health. And I'll explain why right after this intro. Welcome.
It's from Maddie ALLin of HEX Therapy Live. I like Maddie. Maddie tries to make the world a healthier place. He's a mental health professional. He's done research.
Big videos on sudden wealth syndrome.
There's nothing that a human being could do better than try and heal his fellow man.
Maddie ALLin's got that covered. He does emotional, feel-good, mind management, emotion stuff, like, as his gig, because he's a therapist. That's what he does for a living. Like, he helps heal people.
So tonight's episode is going to be short and sweet and to the point. I know a couple weeks ago we had a 3.5-hour episode on Thursday night. And if you didn't see, I think it was a 2.5-hour episode earlier this week with David Feeder and I on Game Theory Gang. You should definitely check it out. Also, while we're on the topic of things you should check out, if you haven't taken my free Chain Analysis 101 course, what are you doing? You could be understanding the blockchain so much better. And I know for me, when I've been able to trace what's going on, whether it's the HEX whales buying, selling, getting hacked, whatever it is, there's always a lot of exciting stuff to learn. And I've broken it down into 4 2-hour episodes. And so if you're finding yourself a little bit short on content tonight, because I'm not going to be streaming for hours, then definitely make sure to go to the pinned messages and in the description below. You can join the Telegram. You can go to t.me/PLS Academy, or you can go to the website pls.gallery for a virtual tour of all the lessons that I've got on Chain Analysis 101. So hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to explain right now what is shrinkflation. So last week we talked about inflation and how people kind of characterized it wrong. That's okay. It's still something that's very real. And we also talked last week about recessions and how those should be classified or not classified according to the actual numbers, not just outrage about what politicians are saying, right? And so here are some good examples of shrinkflation, which is when the price of things, instead of raising it, brands are reducing the serving size. And so we can see 3 examples here of like Fritos. A bag that was 9.75 ounces previously is 9.25 ounces today. And, people who are buying 22.6 ounce raisins are getting 70 fewer raisins per can. People want to ask, where did the ETH go? I want to know, where did the raisins go? So definitely go ahead and check that out. Basically, the concept is that in HEX, the inflation is paid to the people who are time locking, people who are delaying gratification and holding up the price. Whereas with all of these other products and services, when you reduce what people are getting and keep the price steady, what you're doing is you're reducing people's real purchasing power. And what's worse is you're lying about it. And so that's why I think it's so important for people to, be careful about how you spend your money and be careful about how you invest your money, because the ways that we invest our money really determines what kind of world we're building, right? Capital investment in a high inflation environment causes people to take more risky bets and to play more loose and fast with the monetary policy. But all these effects, when you're buying into a rigged stock market, or when you're supporting corporations that are trying to cheat you and literally shrink your piece of the pie, that's why we have something like HEX, which is designed, again, to reward people who are creating the value that comes from staking, which is time locking and giving up your option to sell the price down at any given time, right? So supply and demand, and incentivizing people decreasing the supply voluntarily, and that being enforced through a smart contract. So that's a beautiful thing. That's something that we want to see, more of in the world, is HEX getting adopted. I know that Richard Hart, he's been in the United States. He went on BitBoy Crypto's show today. He doesn't have access to his YouTube channel because he's traveling. And so, make sure to go to BitBoy Crypto's channel to see his appearance there today. Tomorrow, he's got an interview coming out with the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. That's really cool. Jordan Belfort was played by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, and he has his own YouTube channel. So that interview should be coming out tomorrow. And Richard was also on Twitter Spaces today. That's a normal Thursday. NFT meets Bitcoiners meets Ethereum meets Richard Hart showdown. This is Richard's third appearance on that Twitter Spaces, and I haven't gotten a chance to catch up on that part yet, so I definitely will. So that's really a rundown of what this idea is. Not everybody has heard of shrinkflation, but the reason why shrinkflation relates to people's psychology and their mental health is because when you save your money and then you want to go spend it, having lower purchasing power, that makes you angry at the world, and it makes the world divided when it comes to politics. It creates proxy idea wars. For example, no matter what you think about a topic that not everybody agrees on, what we know is that some people are disagreeing on, let's just say, social topics and, topics of conflict, topics that are in the media. The reason that they're disagreeing on those topics is not because they truly disagree, but because they're feeling outrage, and they are trying to have these proxy idea wars. And so, again, I believe that a lot of the ill in the world today is due to the expanding monetary policy that's been out of control and that basically robs everybody of purchasing power by either inflating the currency or shrinking the serving size of whatever you're buying. It's all the same thing. It's decreasing your purchasing power. And in HEX, as long as you're time locking at least average with everybody else, it's a system, it's a monetary system, a monetary policy where you can't be diluted in HEX terms if you're staking at least as long as average. And we saw, with the Game Theory Gang episode last week, hexfire.io has a lot of the statistics that are coming out that we've never seen before about the OA stakes and about user behavior on the chain. So that's really exciting. So in HEX, our community keeps expanding, keeps getting better. And, in the rest of the world, it seems like things suck. They're getting either more expensive or they're getting smaller or both, right? Or they're just not available, which is another form of less abundance. And you have to ask yourself, if technology keeps getting better, the price of things keeps going down because of the pressure of technology, then why is it that we have to pay all these central bankers an ever increasing piece of the pie when they're not actually creating value? They're just leeching value. It's a negative externality, right? And so that's why cryptocurrency was invented, was to reduce middlemen and to reduce negative externalities on the real things that matter in the world, which is goods and services, right? And being able to store value over time in a mentally healthy way. And so that's where everything lines up with HEX therapy and HEX, is that when you time lock your HEX and you pay your future self, you're doing yourself a solid, and then that guarantees you your position in this currency, in this monetary system that, you know, as long as you don't emergency end stake, you're going to be good. So, yeah, with that being said, everybody, this might be the shortest episode of HEX Therapy Live ever. That's okay. I've been super busy. I am working on a lot of things behind the scenes, and you know, some of those things I'll be able to talk about in the future. Some of them I won't, but I promise you it is all really good stuff that is designed to benefit the community and to really try to make a difference here in the blockchain space. So hello to everybody in the chat. Many of you are just going to be watching this on replay, so shout out to you. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hey, Maddie, just took off from my road trip from Switzerland, Zurich to Slovakia and Czech Republic. Meet up in Prague. On my way, we'll be meeting Hexicans, 2:50 a.m. Well, shout out to you. And I hope you have a safe trip. I know I just drove across the country, and I'm ready for some rest. So that's our show for tonight. I'll be back on Tuesday night with David Feeder. And until next time, everybody, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out. What we're hoping and what we're thinking is that when the monetary environment changes from a fiat system where people are incentivized to spend as quickly as possible before prices go up, or else you'll be able to get less in the future for the same amount of effort that you put into your paycheck. HEX is a new system that rewards people for saving instead of punishing people for saving. And so that's one thing that I think can fundamentally change the behavior of humans, is by changing their financial environment and allowing people to experience what's possible when they have a stake in their own future, and when people can work together in order to make the future more abundant for all.